essence. Your people are salespeople for you. That's where referrals come from. That's how you have to think of it.
Because the management and transparency is what's very important. So once you submit a referral, you're going to have your own Home Advantage account, and it's going to tell you where everything sits. So if you have 10 referrals that you've sent into the network, it's going to give you all 10 referrals. It's going to tell you every milestone that that client is sitting in, whether they're touring homes, whether they're in escrow. And you now can manage through the Home Advantage application as far as what your pipeline looks like for the referrals that you've sent. And so it's pretty sophisticated, and it's all click of a button, guys.
They're recording. It is live. Ron, we are in here, my friend. Hey, everybody, thank you so much, as always, for your time and attention, your love and support. Another incredible LabCoatAgents live webinar. I'm Greg Fowler, founder of Lionbolt Media, host of Real Estate Titans, and one of your beloved moderators here at LCA. And we've got a huge one today. Our good friend, Ron Targanski and Targanski, I'm sorry, Ron. And I'm super excited about this one because the idea behind how I prospect, and one of the best and brightest minds in the business here with us, Ron. So I can't thank you enough for taking the time for sharing your knowledge with the LabCoatAgents world and family. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
So with Ron, I want to jump into the idea behind your mentality and your mindset. You've been doing this for such an incredible time frame and hit so many incredible notes into that. So everybody, you're welcome ahead of time. The fact that Ron has taken the time to share his knowledge and his expertise with everybody out there. I do encourage everybody to, if you got any thoughts or questions, please ask. I'll be monitoring those for Ron. I'll be jumping in very specifically into that. But let's go into the idea behind this, which is how you prospect and making the complex simplistic, I guess, Ron. Let's just start there.
Okay, first of all, what I've done is I go into LabCoat and other sites, and what I'll do is post what I do. For instance, if I say I give little gifts at Christmas, I just don't say I give little gifts at Christmas. Here's the gift. Here's how much they cost. Here's where I bought them. Here's the wrap. Here's where I buy the wrap. Here's how I put cards on it. Because there's too much of answers when someone's having trouble of, you've got this. Give it all you got. The reality is they don't know what they're doing. I want to show you what to do. Be it the pumpkin pies. Well, where do you get the pumpkin pies? You get them from Costco. Get them without labels. Get your own labels. Do they have to be refrigerated? No, they're gone before you need refrigeration. This kind of thing. Instead of do mailers, do flyers, do pumpkin pies, let me show you how I do pumpkin pies. And that's where the how I prospect idea came up. So and I would tag it that way so people could actually follow me and do searches.
So from Ron Targanski's perspective, if you look at it, because 30 plus years in the business, is that right, Ron? I mean, so you've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, and that to me is absolutely incredible. And when you're looking at it, I want to go into the aspect of flyers, right? Because we were talking about that in the green room prior to. When you're really looking at it from a marketing and or saturation standpoint, what's your philosophy and breakdown of the flyer, in a sense, for anybody out there tuning in who really wants to learn and do how you do, Ron?
Okay, I'm going to take us back to the number one thing we did 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Someone started with me and I said, let's do this. And I did a flyer similar to this. I had buyers looking in your neighborhood. For the right price, would you consider selling your home? Just like that. 3 weeks later, and it was right before Christmas, we get a call. I understand you have a buyer. Can you come list my house? Never asked about a buyer. I listed that house, sold quick. Week later, someone calls, hey, you've got buyers. went and listed that house, and I went, wow, this works. 400 flyers, and that was just putting them in the door. It was that simple. No shiny paper, no anything. So then as things went on, the next one was my neighbor's house sold. So I did one that said I'd, have extra, 35 people come through open houses and whatnot. And then I did something like this, real simple. And then that one, I started putting them in the mailbox, flag, or where the newspaper goes.
Gotcha.
And I know it gets everybody upset. You can't do it. I don't suggest you do it. But I've done it for 10 years. I'm still testing it out, see if this is something that'll work. In that neighborhood, I've sold close to 50 homes. They know me. I do the Halloween event. I do garage sales. Anything they need, they call me. We're short funds for our Christmas party. What do you need? I cut them a check, and I'm invited. I'm the real estate guy they go to.
Wow.
So,
yeah. Well, I want to touch on that though, Ron, for a minute. So before we went live into here too, which is important. I want to set that context. You have one flyer where it had your recent image on there and then a high school image on there. So was that the one that you just showed?
No. So
okay.
In the neighborhood I grew up,
yes,
I start selling all the, the guys I went to high school with. Parents are elderly. There's some in their mid 90s still living there. So I did a flyer like this. And right here's my real estate picture. Here's my high school graduation picture, 1975. And it says I graduated from Franklin High School, blah, 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 probably with your kids. Here's some of the homes I sold. I sold 70 homes in that large neighborhood. Because all the parents are elderly. They are moving. They don't care what the economy, interest rates. They're going to assisted living, moving in with. No one cares what's on these. They're not checking spelling. They're not looking at their recent sales or sales from 3 years ago. They're just houses you sold. I recycle pictures. Again, that's one thing. Now, what do? I use Microsoft Publisher.
Oh, yes.
I learned to use it, and I kind of know how to use pictures and put other stuff in there. And I can make a flyer this afternoon in 25 minutes and have them printing out on my printer sitting right next to me here. Not fancy paper, not sent out of Texas. Make them, fold them. I'll have information on the front, on the back. There's my garage sale that we just did. I do that every year. Or I created this 7 years ago and I haven't updated it. No one cares. It just has Google reviews. No one cares. No one looks at them on when they were. Here's one with a map, and this was from 2015, of the map of all the houses. Let me sell yours. Now, an interesting thing, my next flyer, I got a ranch house, 1,300 square feet, $435,000, and it appraised out. So I'm going to take the picture of Elon Musk carrying the sink. Now, someone else sold a ranch for $375, and I'm going to put, let this sink in. I got the highest price on ranches. How can I do the same for you? And I'm going to brag that I got the highest price on a ranch there. Wow. And use the Elon Musk joke. You got to have fun. This isn't serious stuff. It's not heart surgery, for God's sakes.
But Ron, that's coming from you, been doing this from times, and you've been able to trial and error and see what fits and what doesn't and the reaction. I think there's so many people that might be tuning into this to say, well, gosh, it's easy for Ron to say it because he's been there, he's experienced these things. I would state, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ron, but this is the proven track record for you to have those success and those levels. And I think so many individuals in the real estate industry, they overcomplicate something that is so simple. And I love how you broke it down to say, look, I'm using software. I can knock this out in 20 some odd minutes. I can have it printed off and ready to go. It's not something that's long and drawn out and over processed. What are your thoughts on that, Ron? And I guess the mindset to the individuals who are tuning into this that want to really kind of implement different ways to prospect.
Okay, so I've done the flyers. Again, I call them janky flyers. They're just printed flyers on paper for 10 years. A couple years ago, when they were dropping money out of the sky to us, I said, I'm going to now mail some nice postcards. I don't have any handy. I did the nice shiny postcards. I did 15,000 for 12 months. I got one appointment from that and never listed anything. But my flyers, I got listings from that.
There you go. So I think that that's education piece to everybody out there, because there's so many different ways to prospect, and you know, not everything is going to work for every person in every area, for every demographic. You know, so it does need to be tailored to the individual and the growth and goals. You had mentioned, you know, talking to new agents. So Ron, pretend that I'm a new agent, right? I recently got licensed. And if you were advising me into any form or fashion, hey, Greg, you know, this is what I would recommend you doing to prospect. These are some fundamentals to kind of go down. What comes to mind? What advice over all these years would you give?
I post it regularly. So Greg, you're brand new, and you're going to a lot of classes. And unless they got a class for printing checks, please get out of those classes. But here's what I think you should do. Go preview 5 properties a day. Now we'll get pushback on that. Oh, you're going to have people leave their home. Look, it's a business. Go preview 5 properties per day, 25 per week, 100 per month, 1,000 per year. My daughter did that when she moved to California, and she worked for a guy out there, Neil Schwartz. You will know, we all know when we're showing properties, after a while, buyers can comp out houses. So I tell new agents, go preview 5, come back to the office, write one up as a listing, write one up as a buyer, and then have someone check it. You got to learn to run comps. You got to know that paperwork. So when someone, now we don't call people because we're afraid they're going to say, can you come list my home now? And you wouldn't know what to do. So you do that, you'll know the inventory better than anyone in your market. That's the place to start, not with TikTok videos. Because if you can't produce when they tell you to come over, the videos do nothing. Learn what's on the backside. So a brand new agent or someone who's struggling, go preview properties. Now you call people and say, you won't believe the homes I'm looking at 25 a week. There's some really great deals out here. There's one that really needs a lot of work. Now you've got something to put on a flyer.
There you go.
I've got some great deals out here. Who's interested in a great deal? Think you won't get phone calls from there? Everyone wants a great deal. But you need to execute. You need to be able to execute. And that's oh, I mentioned my daughter. My daughter's Kate Simon, who's head coach for Jeff Glover, Glover U.
Sure.
So we're connected there. She's way smarter and way better looking than me. But
as any father would say about their daughter, I would say that.
No, but
a
there's
good
some
father.
people. But that's how she made it when she went to California.
Wow.
Is she just previewed properties, and then from that business, you'll get business from it. And then flyer. Now let's take a step back. So you see the guitars hanging in back.
Yes, love them.
One thing I used to do, I don't do it much anymore. So we had Thanksgiving and we did the pie giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
So I did the pie giveaway, and that was before Thanksgiving. Then the day after Thanksgiving, I got a local bar that was connected to a golf club, golf course, which isn't busy in the winter. I got my buddy's band to play, and then they let me play. I'd kind of put on a class reunion. I go, hey, everybody's invited. I got the food. You get your own drink. And then I'd invite clients, because at that time we didn't sit home and shop and just have everything delivered. And it was a come on by and grab some dinner and rest between shopping. And I did that every Friday after Thanksgiving. Now, you'll have to learn to play guitar and get buddies with bands. So don't count on that, but I do stuff like that. Now this year, I saw a restaurant that was opening, so I kept posting about this restaurant. And then we kept getting shares. And then the restaurant called me and said, we need our restaurant filled before Thanksgiving for our soft opening. And I filled it with 600 people the Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And all my clients and people thought that I paid for everything. I said, no, this is on the restaurant. They go, you're just amazing, the things you give back to us.
Unreal, Ron. And as you're mentioning that, I was admiring your guitars, before we went live here. And I find that's incredibly important to understand where your passions lie outside of real estate and how they can kind of correlate to people, to connectivity, to really serve your community in such a way. And I think that's fantastic as you're mentioning events, because that's one aspect that I know people are tuning into here is obviously your strategy behind it. But let's talk about some other creative events that you've done over time, Ron, and ones that you would, I guess, if I'm earlier on in my career, or let's just say that I'm well into the middle of my career looking for that next strategy or that next evolution, what types of events would you recommend me putting on, and how does that look structuring?
Okay, so with my flyering of the neighborhood, I'm a member of that neighborhood's Facebook group. Okay. So I saw the one gal, Nicole, post about their Halloween event. So I touched base with her. I said, what do you need? She said, I could use some glow sticks. Okay. So fantastic. So there's $7. So then I'm a car guy. So I got my friend with the Munster Mobile and the Ghostbuster Mobile. And then I paid for a bounce house. Then I paid for the Kona truck, the Kona ice truck. And I said, what else do you need? And then my face painting, and then there's little signs, thank you, Ron Targanski. And I'll be wandering around there, and they'll just say, we just thank you for everything you do. And literally, Nicole is setting this whole thing up for the neighborhood, and I'm riding her coattails.
Wow.
I'm just getting, okay, I got some cars coming, I got this, I got face painters, and you just become part of the neighborhood. Now, I'm part of the neighborhood because I'm driving through it weekly or every 2 weeks. Okay. I know where the elderly are. I see them taking their trash cans in. There's one car in the middle of the driveway. They know me, I know them. You can't get that by sending, every door direct, EDDM, or sending your stuff from you don't know the neighbors. You don't know who's going to move. You don't. Me in the neighborhood, everyone goes, you're going to need to talk to so-and-so next door. About a year they'll be moving, and things like that. But the next thing, as my daughter Kate, in some of her speeches, she will ask people, everybody wants to be this rock star. Who do you need to be or become? Because everybody can't do what I do.
Right.
Well, I was at a car show last night, me and 2 Corvettes at the end, and there's a guy there, and I always say, yeah, I'm a realtor, I'm really busy. You are? Do you have a card? I'm looking for a house, this one house. I went by it this morning. It's $800,000. We're working a deal because this was this guy's uncle who lives on the other side of, our metro area, just because he's got to move this way. He's them pesky baby boomers, as I say, because he wants to be closer to his kids. because of there's a divorce going on and they need babysitting and he's too far away. And he goes, do you know my area? Which I don't. Yes, I do. Absolutely, I know that area. Do you go to places and talk? But if you aren't that person, listen, there are some people going and pay for gas and don't they get a coffee and don't make eye contact with the clerk.
For sure.
Now, where did I get this? Years ago, me and Ken Posick were in the same office. And I read this book, 7 Levels of Communication, Michael Mayer. This book changed the way I did business because I was really shy. It's hard to believe, but really shy and didn't want to do things. Get confident and you'll do everything because I can help you move. You just need me.
Ron, and you dropped a lot of incredible nuggets out there for everybody. So I just want to recap.
Yeah.
Starting back from just the main event that you were talking about, joining a Facebook group, really honing in on that Halloween gathering and seeing of service, right? Going back and saying glow sticks, taking it upon yourself to go to the next level with, your car collector and enthusiast buds and bringing, that influence into it, looking at it from Kona Ice to really just developing this thing. And as you mentioned, riding the coattails, but ultimately you're really giving back. So that's a huge strategy in and of itself for anybody tuning into this is look for local events that are already being put on and then see how you can be of service, see how you can partner with that in your local geographic areas, just like Ron has done and laid out before you. I think that that's a massive strategy. A certain amount of effort, a certain amount of cost, depending. But you got to look at it from the standpoint of, are you that local go-to? And I think the way that you based that off, Ron, was absolutely incredible. I want to ask you this question. You being a car enthusiast, I know that you'd mentioned kind of speaking with fellow enthusiasts. How often do you meet with different groups or car shows or events? And, how many transactions would you say over the years you've done with fellow enthusiasts? Has that been something that's bared fruit for you over time?
So, yes, and let me do a little bit of explanation here. So, my market, so I'm 66 years old, okay? You've got to think demographically of where we are.
Sure.
I can collect Social Security at the end of the year and make as much money as I can. I'm at the peak of the baby boomers retiring.
Okay.
1950 to 1965. We have nothing but money. We are retiring. Many are going to assisted living. Many are moving in with their kids. Many are going to the villages, baby. Let's go. They are retiring from work.
Okay.
I deal with the baby boomers. Now, I said, have fun moving Chloe out of grandma's basement at her first time home purchase, but my people are selling cash and they're buying on the other end cash. They are moving and that market won't stop no matter what happens. I offer packing, fixing, moving, whatever they need at their house. I'm dealing with a couple now who went to assisted living. Son's in California. We're doing, my people are doing a estate sale. We're having an issue with the basement. He just goes, take care of it. Offer those services because the people whose parents are in that situation, they can't always handle it. Be that full service. And that's where the referrals come in. And I do 95% listings. I'm not chasing buyers around. You list a house, sell a house, move on to the next.
And
now I go to car shows. Who are motorheads? Go to a car show.
Sure.
There's no young kids there unless they got those, they call them tuners and all those kind of cars.
Fair
They
enough.
are all elderly, old car guys. They're motorheads.
Yep.
They all get, cards. Oh, you're the realtor guy. They're moving. They're 88 and they just hooked up with Gladys, who's 78, the young gal. They're selling their colonial to move into a ranch to get a new start.
Ron, as you mentioned all this, I want to go back to full service and then go to the enthusiast side of
Okay.
ours. That is a massive testament to your excellence and professionalism, and your obviously your longevity into your career is really caring from start to finish. And I think that that's a massive reflection based off your clientele currently, but then the generation that's coming to say, look what Ron did here. Wow. And then the generational kind of echo or ripple effect continues, which it just blows my mind, the simplicity of just caring and truly taking the transaction above and beyond, I think is massive. And you're doing that and continue to. But I think looking at it from your comment on the gearheads, there's all different levels of enthusiasm and different genres of automotive. But I'm a huge fan of any and all car show. So I might be an oddball or an odd duck. But I'm a big fan of going to any car show of any genre, or whether it's, imports, whether it ends up being supercar exotics, whether it ends up being classic, domestic muscle cars, true Americana. My favorite piece is the communication and the storytelling between the enthusiast. Where did this car come from? How long have you had it? What did you do to it?
We all have a story. I'm going to throw something out here. So I posted this online. We've had some medical issues with my wife last 2 to 3 weeks. She's home, she's safe and all.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago on a Saturday night, we end up in emergency room. We go, that's a local hospital. We go in and the nurse is taking care of things. The doctor comes in, starts ordering some scans. She had gotten out of the hospital, had some pain. So a couple hours go by and it's now 2 a.m. The doctor comes in and says, "Hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so. I'm in charge tonight. Karen." And so she says, "Who's the realtor?" And I said, "Me." She says, "Do you sell everything in my neighborhood?" And we just started laughing. That's penetration. When the ER doctor recognizes you, and I go, the flyers are working. I mean, it's now, I know where she lives now because I looked her up. Trust me, she got a gift and all that stuff. But you're going to do that stuff. Do they know who you are? Make people not have a chance to not know you.
I think that's true. And being genuine in nature and communicating with people, from that servant's heart mentality, I think is important, Ron. And I love how you're representing everything above and beyond this. And I've got one more question for you, kind of coming through this, Ron, and anything else you want to touch on too in addition. But when you're talking about 7 levels, what really stood out to you? I mean, for anybody who hasn't read that book or been a part of it, what major takeaway would you say just made that shift in your mind that really impacted you to bring that up in this webinar today?
As just a simple point, as usual, as realtors, where are you going to lunch? Let's go to lunch. So you go out with realtors and you never really thought, not one of these people are going to buy from you. What am I doing sitting with them? Okay, right? I mean, and all we're doing is complaining. So, it was the idea of going to a coffee shop or somewhere and literally like setting up a desk.
Wow.
Like it's your desk. And then you have your clients, people coming up and meeting for a half hour. Hey, I'm up here doing some work. Why don't you come up, stop up, I'll buy you a coffee, kick around, see how things are going. And it was that kind of idea.
Wow.
I do want to circle back for a moment.
Please, please do.
So when we talk about pumpkin pies, and I'll post, we're going to do pumpkin pies. So I do Costco, no labels. You can get your own label, put it on. Then people will, and you can all run your business the way you want. But people will say, well, I deal with the local bakery. Well, that's great. But at this point, I'm not trying to save the local bakery. Okay. No disrespect to the local
Fair
bakery.
enough. Yeah.
Or someone said something on the order of, isn't pumpkin pie overdone? I'm going to do Cocoa Bomb for someone with a mug. So then you think, Cocoa Bomb with a mug, and you got one happy client who just is thinking of you. This pumpkin pie from Costco that's the size of a garbage can lid with your sticker on it has got 15 people at the table saying, where'd you get that pie? Oh, from our realtor. And then now you've got 15 people enjoying and touching base with you. My last 5 listings, they said, and it's in that neighborhood, we really want to thank you for the pumpkin pie every year. And one guy, when we closed, said, and I get an apple pie. Well, sure as heck, he'll have an apple pie. They remember it. But if you want a Cocoa Bomb, you got one happy client. I got a whole family thinking of me. That's my sales. It's my sales meeting at Thanksgiving, in essence. Your people are salespeople for you. That's where referrals come from. That's how you have to think of it.
Ron, you've shared so many applicable items and information for everybody, from mindset to structuring for flyers, and really kind of making the complex simplistic. Really looking at it from a connectivity standpoint, a saturation and nurture standpoint, and just full service into the industry. So there's a lot that was unpacked. We were talking prior to, for people to get a hold of you or for examples of flyers, is that something that we're okay to share? How do we want to go about doing that for LCA?
Well, I created a site that's called How I Prospect Real Estate. Okay. And if they go there, there are some downloads, because everyone wants a sample of my flyers. They're nothing special. If you have no sales, go get sales from people in your office. Can I put this house? We got 10,000 over asking on this. Say we. You're part of the brokerage. We got. But they can download them from there. There's but it's How I Prospect Real Estate. I don't know if they got to join. I just did that so I could post stuff, because I have a whole crew that touch base with me. I'm like coaching. I should start charging. I don't. I love the business and I want to help people. That's the only reason I do this.
Ron, it comes out. People can feel the passion and the energy that you have, and obviously the longevity in your career, and you continue to give and serve. And I know that I can't thank you enough for taking the time on LabCoatAgents. I know that everybody out there is super excited. You've got some fans out there in the comments saying that you've helped them, out with so many flyers and all different types of aspects. So I can't thank everybody enough for chiming in and jumping in that way too. In addition, Ron, is there anything you want to leave the audience with before we wrap this up today?
Let me look at my notes. No, just do something. Do a handwritten magic marker. I have flyers, or I have buyers looking in your neighborhood. And I got this from Tom Ferry's videos. For the right price, would you consider selling your home? Your name and number, walk a neighborhood, 300, 200, 400. Don't worry how many other agents are there, because everyone thinks there must be an agent that runs this neighborhood and whatever. Don't. Everyone's afraid to do this. Now, the reason I tell you all these tricks, nobody will do any of it. They're 3% of people you tell to do this will do it. So that's why I say this business is so easy. Hardly anybody's really doing it.
Oh, well said, Ron. And
not to knock the industry, but
no, not at all. And I know that there is a 3% tuning in now or after the fact. It is going to take Ron up on this, and you will not regret it. Ron, you're a true professional, and I cannot thank you enough again for taking the time today.
I thank you. And again, people can always reach out to me. They know how to get a hold of me through, messaging and stuff like that. And I get back to whoever I can when I can. But I just posted, someone said, what's the site again? How I Prospect Real Estate. And it's just a Facebook page. I think I got to approve you, but it's not it's not some super secret thing. It's just so I could pass on information when people want things.
And please jump in, everybody. Again, follow Ron. He is a man who knows what he's doing. He's been there, done that. And Ron, again, I can't thank you enough. I want to thank everybody out there in LabCoatAgent world, planet, family for tuning in for another live webinar. Stay tuned. We'll catch you all on the next live webinar here at LabCoatAgents. Take care. Thank you so much. See you, Ron.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Greg.